Next one. If elected, will the candidate and will the candidate's party support the Victorian government in providing finance to match that's already been provided by the Commonwealth Government to allow the renovation of the South Melbourne Town Hall so that it can become the permanent home of the Australian National Academy of Music?
Nina, I think you're up first.
Nina, sorry.
So I have to say I don't have any announcements tonight, so I'll just put that caveat straight up. And I think there are a few things to consider in this space. Obviously, when you're in government, we are accountable and we have to consider carefully before investing, not to take anything away from ANAM, of course. They're an incredible organisation. I think even Keating may have been originally involved with its inception or its early days. Now, I know that the actual building, the freehold, is owned outright by the City of Port Phillip. So in that respect, I just have to say it is a bit disappointing that it's been allowed to deteriorate to the extent that it has. And what I'm seeing here is that there is an ask for the Victorian Government to kind of fill that gap in light of it having been allowed to deteriorate to the point that it has, which I think is rather sad. And I think some other things that we have to factor in, I believe that leasing arrangements are still being finalised. And that the philanthropic contributions are still being put together. So I'm not trying, I'm just trying to factor in some of the realistic things that Treasurer and otherwise have to look at before investing in something, but something that is very important to our, to our city, to the seat of Albert Park and beyond, and internationally as well. So I don't want to take anything away from the organisation itself. One caveat I will put also, when we think about the seat of Albert Park, I mean, there's been more cultural capital in this seat than I think any other electorate in the country. If you think of the Palais, if you think of the $1.7 billion investment for the Melbourne Arts Precinct, Theatre Works, the National Theatre, recurrent funding for Screen, Digital, Linden, Gasworks, even the Tapestry workshops. So I wouldn't like it to be considered that somehow we were anyway remiss when it comes to the arts, because certainly labour and the arts go hand in hand. I have no announcements to make tonight, sorry. I'm just being upfront.
Is it on? Sorry, is it on? So out of my leaflet, we actually spelt Annam wrong and we put a nom there. But it made the leaflet because it is really important to me. I miss the musicians, as everyone knows, work in South Melbourne. I miss the musicians that they bring, the life that they bring to our market and to our community. Our world is a richer place. The City of Port Phillip has already contributed 16 million. I think they're already going up to 23 million. ANAM has sourced their own funding. To say that the District of Albert Park has a lot of arts. We have the NGV. It's like saying Tullamarine has more aeroplanes than any other suburb. We actually have the NGV here. You can't say that the rest of our city, and I know you're not, but you can't say that the rest of our city is like really arts focused because we have the NGV. ANAM is a priority for me. I would like to see it back. I'll do everything in my power to work towards that happening. I will lobby for it every day that I am in there because it makes our community richer, and I know it is a priority to everybody here. And I will also have the ability to have good relationships with the council, whereas I encourage them to keep on the mark and I encourage them to keep supporting that beautiful building. I think that a lot of blame can be laid for how that building got there, but I don't think it should all just rest on the shoulders of the City of Port Phillip.
Yes, we have made a commitment of $10 million to repair the South Melbourne Town Hall, and that will be matched and furthered with philanthropists. People nearly died in the room when the roof fell in, and ANAM have had to move to the Abbotsford Convent, and we can't wait for them to come back and for South Melbourne to be part of our music precinct. When our announcement was made, we had a beautiful violinist by the name of Joe, and just the feeling that the music gives, it just changes lives.
Thanks. I have a short answer. That answer is yes. I took some time, my limited time that I've had, to speak with my colleagues in the Greens Party, with Christine Milne and with Steph Hodgins-May, who've been absolutely forceful advocates and really supportive of ANAM and the project. So yes, the Greens will commit $10 million to that, and I have spent a lot of my afternoon today emailing the very many passionate advocates who have contacted me to make that promise and beyond, that I will continue to fight for the arts in the area and especially for ANAM. The Greens have announced a $1 billion secure art fund for small and medium art organisations, which I think covers a lot of the area that we're talking about. And that will give grants to these small organisations to further develop their arts in the community. Arts is essential to any democratic society. It breeds empathy for us. It shows us the way that other people live, perspectives outside of our own. I couldn't be more passionate about the way that the arts are important to keeping our communities healthy, our mental health, and just in terms of helping people to relate to each other and understand each other. We also want to make sure that our artists are paid a living wage, because arts is probably one of the last true vocations where you would engage in this activity for nothing but the love of what you're doing. So I think it's really important that we value that much more highly.